अलग लेवल का डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है यार, मतलब
Yeah.
कैन नॉट टेल यू किस लेवल। कुछ अच्छा नहीं होगा तो बोलेगा कि क्या बकवास पढ़ाया है। ऑडियंस तो कभी खुश नहीं होगी। मतलब गर्ल्स हॉस्टल कम्प्लीटली अलग, मतलब
Right.
इट इज लाइक कि वो अलग ही दुनिया है, वहां पे कोई बंदे नहीं।
Hello, everyone. Today we have with us Keerti Purswani, an educator, a YouTuber with over 90,000 subscriptions, LinkedIn top voice of 2022, and someone who has cracked many big companies coding interviews. Welcome, Keerti, to Tech My Breath Away.
थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू फॉर हैविंग मी।
Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself, right? Like your childhood, how growing up, what is it like?
So I was a very, very average student, like super average student. Never thought I could do something amazing. पता भी नहीं था
Mm-hmm.
क्या करना है टाइप का। सब लोग पीसीएम ले रहे थे तो पीसीएम ले लिया। फिर बाद में आई वाज लाइक कि क्यों लिया, व्हाई डिडंट आई गिव इट अ थॉट, मे बी बायो ले लेना चाहिए था। बट देन सब ले रहे थे, ले लिया। वहां पे पहुंच गए तो मतलब गॉट अ ब्रांच दैट आई वाज नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन। 3-4
Right.
years I struggled to like what I'm doing, electrical. But then good thing that happened with me was कि I knew the fact कि whatever I choose now, I would be doing that for the rest of my life. मतलब,
Mm.
24/7, 9 to 5,
That
like
clarity
for
is
the
good.
rest
Yeah.
of my life, yeah.
Correct.
So हाँ, तो तब मैंने रिस्क लेके I was like कि नहीं, अब कुछ ऐसा ढूंढना है कि which I am really really interested in. फिर वो मिला तो लाइफ में पहली बार ऐसा लगा कि कुछ ऐसा मिला है जिसमें मजा आ रहा है, जिसको फुल टाइम कर
Right.
सकते हैं। तो तब से जर्नी हैज बीन अमेजिंग।
Nice, nice. So this is the teaching that you're doing right now?
It was actually coding. So I started like a software developer. फिर वो
Mm-hmm.
तो हो गया कि पढ़ाने भी लग गई, तो I found like a perfect mixture of two things that I absolutely love, teaching and software development. And it just happened. मतलब software developer also I was like, I did not know anything when I became a software developer. I did not know anything. Non-CS student, no projects,
Hmm.
no internship, no background. आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग। फिर बहुत सारा मेंटर्स ने हेल्प किया। दे मतलब डीबगिंग वहीं पे सीखी, सी प्लस प्लस, सिस्टम डिजाइन, एलएलडी, एचएलडी, डीएसए, सब कुछ पढ़ा। बहुत मेहनत की। बट देन या इट वर्कड आउट।
Oh, so this is, oh, I didn't know this. So you studied like electrical in NIT Calicut, right?
Yep,
And then
yep.
how did you transition to CS? Like what drew you to that field?
So interestingly, like in 11th, 12th, I took computer science, but then
Mm-hmm.
क्या था, the least marks I got was in computer science. So mine was the year of the experimentation. जब तब तक 12th का percentage was not counted. तो मैंने
Right.
पूरी अपना ध्यान IIT की तैयारी में लगाया। तो and I took CS ये सोच के कि मजा आता है, ठीक है,
Right.
एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देखते हैं। बट देन हमारे ईयर के साथ उन लोगों ने गेम खेल दिया एंड आवर 12th परसेंटेज मतलब मैटर
Right.
इन आर
Yeah,
NIT। तो
correct,
वो
correct,
दैट
correct.
आई वाज द एक्सपेरिमेंट वाला साल। बट देन हाँ, तो माय लीस्ट मार्क्स वाज इन कंप्यूटर साइंस एंड इंग्लिश। बाकी
Mm-hmm.
पीसीएम वाज वेरी गुड, बट देन आई समवेयर न्यू कि मुझे मजा आता है इसमें, मतलब आई लाइक इट। So मैंने I started with production in NIT Calicut and I tried to change my branch. I missed
अच्छा
CS with 0.1 pointer. Like only two people
Okay.
could change the branch, and
अच्छा
मेरे जितने pointer थे, I had 0.1 pointer less.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
I missed CS there, but then I tried liking electrical, did not like it till like 4th year. Then I was like कि जब मुझे पता पड़ा कि we can still sit for placements like CS people. Then I was
Oh,
like,
nice.
oh, this is like,
Yeah.
this is where I should try. अच्छे
I'll
से।
show my true calling abhi.
Yep, yep.
नहीं वो बहुत लोगों का होता है ना कि पहले साल में हम जाएंगे and then we'll switch our branch. There were I
Yeah.
remember in our college also this very similar cases and very rarely it actually happens that
So
somebody ends
I
up
was in the top 2 who could change their
Hmm.
branch, but I could not get CS. I got electrical.
Ah.
मतलब that was my second choice.
अच्छा. Oh, so they had like NIT Calicut has like a मतलब pointer
Yes.
का threshold होता है कि
नहीं
even
नहीं,
if you're eligible.
top 2 people of the branch can change. So I was from production. So I was in the top 2 people from production.
अच्छा. But then why didn't they allow you to change to CS?
तो among all the branches like only 2
हम्म,
people can switch to CS ऐसे करके. So
अच्छा अच्छा
एंड इंटरेस्टिंगली मतलब बहुत ही ऐसी स्टोरी है कि जिस
हम्म,
बंदे को सीएस मिली उसने
हम्म।
गलती से ऐसा भर दिया था. हिज प्रेफरेंस वाज इलेक्ट्रिकल. मतलब और ये I
उसके
came
बाद तो
to know
एकदम
जब
प्रॉपर मतलब गाली
ये
देने
I
की
came to
डायरेक्ट अपन
know
क्या
जब
होगा
हम दोनों का साथ में एक जगह प्लेसमेंट हुआ. देन आई वाज लाइक कि हाँ तुम्हारी वजह से मुझे सीएस नहीं मिली. तो इज लाइक हाँ वो मुझसे गलती से हो गया था. मेरे को तो इलेक्ट्रिकल चाहिए.
ये तो यार दिस
Awesome,
तो
awesome. You know, you
Yeah.
said something ki luckily you found something which is at the intersection of education as well as coding. If I
Yeah.
may add, at the intersection of also money. क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग they try to follow their passion, right? They try to follow things that they enjoy, but unfortunately it doesn't pay the bills. So it's lucky that
Yeah.
I think you're often fortunate that you've figured out that it also pays the bills and you in fact enjoy it.
Completely agree. So I like painting also. So I would
Mhm.
have if painting would have paid my bills, I would have probably become a full-time painter.
अच्छा
But then that doesn't happen. So it's always a side thing. Like right now, I don't think I'm so good that I can do it full-time. People do it, proud of
Hmm.
them, but I don't think I can do it full-time.
Yeah,
So true,
and
so true.
one thing is also like, especially in the Indian education system in general, right? When the way it's structured, like you end up going through extracurriculars are not really encouraged. I mean, there are these certain streams like engineering or medical where most people would be trying to go through that
Yeah.
same pipeline, and then to be very frank, when I like got into my university, I really didn't know which one I wanted. It was more like कि पापा इलेक्ट्रिकल कर चुके थे तो इलेक्ट्रिकल का होप होता है, and computers was like his colleagues friend, children were there, and they were like, yeah, that's also a nice brand. So I was like, इन दोनों में से कोई सा भी चलेगा. I really didn't know at that point कि
See,
and
I think Devan, you are a little bit naive in that sense. आजकल के लोग they also sort by किसका पैकेज
पैकेज
कितने में मिलता है.
नहीं, वो तो ऑब्वियसली वो सिग्नल आया बाद में, बट आई एम सेइंग
वो
लाइक
अभी आ गया है.
हाँ
But my
हाँ
father was also like director of Paychil. So he is
हम्म
also like proper core job. So he really wanted me to
हम्म
get into electrical. And उस time पे इतना नहीं पता था कि CS कितनी जॉब लगती है, इलेक्ट्रिकल की नहीं लगती.
हाँ सेम
ये
सेम
सब नहीं
मेरे
पता.
पापा भी जैसे इसमें डिफेंस में, तो उनका वही था कि इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन
Yeah.
एवियोनिक्स वगैरह.
Plus, I would like to add something. मतलब ये मैं पहली बार ऐसे ऑनलाइन बोल रही हूँ. आई एम नॉट
हाँ
श्योर कि आई विल बी एबल टू एक्सप्लेन इट मच. बट देन आई हैव नोटिस्ड वन थिंग अबाउट माई सेल्फ कि कोई ऐसे फोर्स करता है कि ये पढ़ो, ये पॉइंटर के लिए पढ़ो. तो आई डोंट एंजॉय इट एज मच. क्योंकि मैं सीएस वो सब पढ़ा जो मुझे मजा आता है, प्लस जो जॉब में काम आएगा. वर्सेस अगर मेरे को सीएस मिल भी जाता, मे बी अगर कोई मेरे को बोलता कि नहीं ये रटो, क्योंकि कॉलेज में तो आपको रटना ही पड़ता है, या मतलब कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स
Yeah.
होते हैं ऐसे जो आपको मन नहीं है पढ़ने का तो भी जबरदस्ती पढ़नी पड़ती है. तो ऐसे मैं कभी-कभी सोचती हूँ कि अगर सीएस मिल भी जाता, मे बी आई वुड नॉट हैव एन्जॉयड एज मच एज आई एन्जॉय इट नाउ, बिकॉज़ आई लर्न
खुद से कर
एवरीथिंग
रहे हो.
माय सेल्फ इन माय वे. यस.
Yeah.
Yeah.
तो
Yeah, you're not stuck. I mean, with the specific ये sequence में जाओ, ये करो,
राइट.
ये deadline के साथ करो, and all of
हाँ.
that's something
Yeah, that's
definitely
true.
definitely.
That's very true. You know, एक चीज एक पढ़ा था मैंने कहीं पे. I think there was a post of yours from some time back where you are like you're from Bhopal. तो and I think a lot of your family has also studied in NIT Bhopal. एक option था वहाँ पे पढ़ने के लिए, and then you were a little apprehensive of coming down south. वो पूरा just set that up for us कि you know eventually you made this decision of coming to a land where you don't understand the language and all that. So take us through that a little bit.
So actually, my father is from NIT Bhopal. My brother is from NIT Bhopal, and my first cousin, who is very close to me, is also from NIT Bhopal. And she is just 3 years elder to me. तो मतलब ऐसा था कि NIT Bhopal was like कि मेरे almost हर friends आ रहे थे. वो होता है ना कि state का जो NIT होता है, easier to get in. Plus,
Right.
and I would be like staying at home and then going to college. And I did not want that life. I wanted to have a self identity. कि मैं उधर जाती तो everyone would already know कि पुष्वानी की बहन है. They would treat me in a particular way.
मोहल्ले में
did
एकदम
not,
मोहल्ले वाले मिले एकदम.
So I did not want that. So I wanted to have a self identity, but then वहाँ पे जाके self identity के नाम पर कुछ ज़्यादा ही struggle हो गया था. मतलब matlab first year in hostel was 5 girls in a room, and
Mm-hmm.
all
Acha.
4 from like Tamil,
Mm-hmm.
Malayali, Tamilian Malayali, Telugu, matlab completely different. And sometimes it is
Mhm.
like they would be talking among themselves. I could hear the
Right.
word Keerti, but I cannot understand what they're talking
Right,
about.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And not just within hostel, like even during labs, like I had lab assistants talking in Malayalam and I had no idea what's going on. And
Mm.
all my friends were Malayalis, like my entire
Right.
group, and I was the only North Indian. So even this has
Okay.
happened ki we are going to watch movie and Malayali movie, and I have no
Oh,
idea what's going on. But
yeah.
because it's a night out and there's only Malayali
Right.
movies in Calicut, we don't have any option. So I'm just
Hmm.
sitting among 15 people and just staring at the screen, and you know, you
भावनाओं
are
को समझ रहे
constant,
हो एकदम
yeah, yeah,
स्क्रीन
yeah.
देख के
You are constantly out of the place. You're constantly different. But then somehow I feel that also built me up, like, you know, that made me the person I am today. Because I'm used to being different everywhere. मतलब
Mm.
Right.
the एक तो नॉर्थ इंडियंस इतने कम थे उधर, ऊपर से नॉर्थ इंडियन लड़कियां तो और भी ज्यादा कम थी. प्लस
Mm.
मतलब जिनको
Yeah.
वो सब्जेक्ट पसंद है जो ब्रांच में नहीं है, मतलब आई फील कि मैं हर जगह ही अलग रही हूँ, मतलब तो आई एम सो
Mm.
यूज्ड टू इट. तो वो यूट्यूब का जो लोग बोलते हैं ना कि अजीब नहीं लगता, ये बोल रहे हैं वो बोल रहे हैं, बिकॉज आई
हाँ.
एम वेरी वेरी यूज्ड टू इट. आई वाज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ
Mm.
फैशन शो टीम. सो जस्ट टेलिंग वन इंसिडेंट. तो क्या होता था कि
हाँ.
व्हेन गर्ल्स डू रैंप वॉक, विल बी गाइस
Mm.
सिटिंग ऑन द स्टेयर्स talking bullshit, passing comments, and it used to annoy the crap out of me. But then the good thing was कि वो लोग तो सब मलयालम में बोल रहे हैं. I don't even understand what's going on. So I can just hear Keerti. I'm like, okay, let them talk about me. So yeah, मतलब good and bad points, but then बहुत ही ऐसा अलग experience था वो.
नहीं, that is something which is useful, right? Because मतलब essentially वो culture shock हुआ because you were thrown into a place with like lot of new variables, uncertainty, and you had to figure your way out. And in
Yes.
my experience, like such experiences just evolve you. Like you become so
You
much
grow.
more confident, and yeah. And then जैसे आप बोल रहे थे ना YouTube वाला भी, it helps there because inherently you're talking to strangers on a daily basis, probably something like that, right?
एंड मैं बहुत लड़के गई थी घर पे. मतलब जब मेरे पेरेंट्स जब छोड़ने जा रहे थे तो माय फादर वाज crying the entire way. It was 36
Oh,
hours
damn.
train journey. And when I
Oh.
was like signing it on the stage, वो जब बुलाते हैं काउंसलिंग के लिए
हाँ,
and वो
हाँ.
सब होता है, तो he was at that time also, चलो कीर्ति, मतलब वापस चलो, तुमको NIT भोपाल मिल रहा है, क्या कर रही हो, चलो
Right.
चलो. They were very shocked कि क्या कर रही, बड़ी पागल हो गई है. But then that was also कि अपने आप को सही प्रूव करना है. तो I have seen other North Indian girls completely go
Right.
into depression, struggle
Right.
as like अभी तो मैं आपको बहुत ही से हँस-हँस के बता रही हूँ, but then उस वक्त वो अलग ही ट्रॉमा होता है यार. फर्स्ट ईयर्स को बाहर ही नहीं निकलने देते. दिवाली पे you are stuck in a hostel room, you cannot get
Right,
out. Like
right.
गर्ल्स को तो निकलना अलाउड नहीं है.
Right.
We had a very
Oh.
strict टाइमिंग पॉलिसी कि आप 5 बजे के बाद बाहर नहीं निकल सकते. तो मतलब बाकी सब लोग सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं, you don't get to celebrate your festivals. So there
I
were
see.
a lot of such things, small incidents, which are small essay, but it has a very deep impact on people, I feel.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And so then, तो फिर क्या? Did you have different like rules and regulations for guys and girls ऐसा कुछ?
yes, it was very different. So girls had to come in at 5. Our hostel was like 1.5, 2 kilometers away. Second year का hostel तो बहुत अंदर है, first year का फिर भी बाहर है. तो मतलब we had to walk, मतलब ऐसे 12 बजे अगर क्लास खत्म हुई है, 12:45 पे there's another class, 45 minutes में you have to walk 1.5, 2 kilometers, go, have lunch, come back. So बहुत
Oh,
बार हम
that's a
लोग
lot.
छोड़ देते थे.
Yeah,
मतलब
yeah.
especially we cannot access library. Like library is in college, so
That's not
guys
cool.
can stay पूरी रात, but we cannot. तो मतलब there were so many things, and I have also been part of a lot of ऐसे धरने and मोर्चे कि
Yeah.
ये सही नहीं है. फिर हम लोगों ने बहुत स्ट्रगल कर करके थोड़ा सा पुश किया था. 9 बजे तक हो गया था आखिरी में. But the first 2-3 years was like very bad. I had to, मतलब हम लोगों ने बहुत बार ऐसे वो किए, धरने पे बैठे हम लोग रोड पे कि नहीं ये भी चेंज करो, ये भी
Damn.
चेंज करो. तो
Yeah, that way I feel like Triple IT was just so liberal. Matlab, we had, I don't recall any issues with regard to at least curfews and These kind of
No,
things.
things are relative. There were some issues. Like, I wouldn't say that it was still a level field. Like, there were some, I think for some time, the girls' hostel mein, they had like the in time, they had a like in time ka restriction, I think 10 p.m.
Mhm.
or something. Guys wale maybe tha technically, but no one actually enforced it.
No one enforces it.
Enforced it. But girls' hostel mein tha, and it was enforced. And not just that, they had to like tag in. I think they had to swipe their ID card or something. And
Oh, is it? When was this? First year mein?
सेम कॉलेज ही गए थे ना हम लोग
I mean, I have, because the reason is, I'm surprised. The reason is, I used to always see like so many of the girls in early morning 3 a.m. having bonda over there and whatnot.
So it probably reset in the morning. So again, say सुबह 6 बजे or something you could do. So ये हो सकता है कि maybe and also so this was one thing I remember one incident जैसे अभी जैसे कीर्ति ने बताया ना, so I remembered that धरना वाला thing. So what they did was the college guys like एक बार जो boundary wall है, they decided to raise the height just for the girls hostel, not for any other hostel, and then they decided to put like वो glass shards on top.
Spikes.
Yeah, so they're like it was for safety and all.
मतलब किस
And-
extent तक वो जा सकते हैं, right?
Yeah, so it was like it is pretty, and then people at the time did like protest, like okay, this is discrimination. But I would say Triple IT is far better, like in terms of academic, and they were very like the administration was very forthcoming, open to
So in
ideas.
NIT से like the boys hostel is within the college और वहीं के around, and girls hostel मतलब आपको एक main road है, you cross the road and इस मतलब girls hostel is completely अलग, मतलब
Right.
it is like कि वो अलग ही दुनिया है, वहाँ पे कोई बंदे नहीं जा सकते, मतलब
अच्छा
and अलग level का discrimination है यार, मतलब cannot tell you किस level का
I can see basically you've taken your dharna online, and that's where you know gender equity का पूरा everything's been built from
No,
the.
but
because
it is not like I speak only from the girls' point of view. So
Yeah.
interestingly, my first I speak about it very proudly. My first LinkedIn viral post was on a men's day. So it got some 7-8 million views. So it is not like I speak only from the girls' side, but then I have faced so much of discrimination कि मुझे वो आदत हो गई है पूरे टाइम, ऐसा लगता है कि मैं झगड़ ही रही हूँ.
Yeah, actually, this is something that we should talk about, right? Because this, I mean, we as guys, both of us, we actually are, we do
Take
come
a
from
lot of things
privilege,
for
even if like for
we take a lot of
granted.
things for
Like one
granted.
thing which I found very unsettling when I came to know about it was like when my female friends they talk about like कि हम रात को बाहर नहीं जा सकते, even in a safe city like Hyderabad, right? And it's like, or for instance something like they don't want to book a ये moto या फिर ऐसा कुछ रात को नहीं बुक करेंगे कैब बिकॉज सेफ्टी का इशू है एंड देन इवन द कॉलेज वन सो एंड द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट इट हैपेंस ओवर टाइम, राइट? बिकॉज घर पे अगर तुम करो डिस्क्रिमिनेट या स्कूल पे डिस्क्रिमिनेट करो, जैसे कॉलेज में कोई डिस्क्रिमिनेट कर रहा है एंड इनहेरेंटली पीपल सी दैट इवन इफ लाइक it becomes a normal way of life, right? It becomes normalized, and that is something that is not right. And in the corporate world also, you see there are a lot of discussions about like why the ratio of people, and then also in the executive positions especially, why there are so few females. So that's a very real problem, discrimination. I mean, gender based. I mean, yeah, someone might argue that nay, it's not just being discriminated upon, it's just based on skill, but the numbers speak for themselves, right? It can't be the actual
I
distribution.
can probably talk about this for hours. I can tell you more and more stories. Like हम आराम से 4-5 podcast कर सकते हैं सिर्फ इस पे, because I have so many stories. मतलब of not just me, because I've interacted with so many women, so many men. So I have so many
Just
stories.
give us the story which has touched your heart the most.
Yeah.
Like you can't compare experiences, and everybody's challenge is different. Like,
or even from your experience, right? Like
whatever has touched your heart the most.
Yeah, one discrimination
so
was
in
at
corporate
college.
life. In corporate life, let me share one. So because as I said, I was a fresher. So I, मतलब जब मैं fresher थी, तो I was a non-sales student. So I did not know anything. So I used to work very, very hard, extremely hard. मतलब I used to stay back in the office till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. every single day, 3 a.m. I used to work, फिर self study भी हो रहा है, सब हो रहा है, and they used to be और भी seniors हैं, mentors हैं जो काम कर रहे हैं. It is not like I'm the only person in the office, but it just so happened that I was the only girl usually who stayed back. So I was called by the people officer of our company, and I was called to the office and told कि बेटा तुमको कुछ हो गया तो we will be the responsible ones, and तुमको ऐसा क्या काम है, why do you stay back? मतलब so this will
Hmm.
never happen with any guy. It will just happen with me.
Correct.
And girls का वो होता है कि you have to go back by 7 p.m., 8 p.m. There will be a bodyguard who will go drop them. So if you think, मतलब, because it is so normalized, girls need extra protection. But if you think about it, in corporate world, you keep comparing कि girls are not so good, but because you're not giving us the equal opportunity. When I got out of that वो ऑफिस, यू हैव नो आइडिया हाउ, मतलब कितने गुस्से में थी मैं, बिकॉज शी टोल्ड मी थिंग्स लाइक, बेटा जब तुम बड़ी हो जाओगी तो तुम्हें समझ आएगा कि ये तुम्हारे लिए है, एंड मतलब तुम्हारी फैमिली, ये सब पता नहीं पूरा दुनिया भर का ज्ञान उन्होंने बोल दिया, तो तुम्हारे साथ कुछ भी हो सकता है। तो मतलब ऐसी चीजें यार मेरी
अगर कोई मुझे ये सारी चीजें बोल दे मैं खुद ही डर जाऊंगा। लाइक अच्छा ऐसा है, ठीक है मैं जाता हूँ।
मतलब कोई फ्रेशर को कोई ऐसे कैसे
Yeah.
बोल सकता है यार, मतलब
Yeah,
इट्स अ वेरी
yeah.
रॉन्ग थिंग टू डू, आई वुड
And
से।
not just that, right? See, I also think about this whenever I hear such things, right? It's like, what can we do to change it? Or what do you think can change? Like, one thing that you can obviously do is in your circle itself, if there is any discrimination, just stop it. You can say that, like, why not? Any unfair thing. But तुम्हारे हिसाब से what would have changed? What could have been done better in these cases?
मेरे ख्याल से बहुत ही नॉर्मल हो गई है ये चीजें दैट यू वर टॉकिंग अबाउट राइट नाउ, राइट? पीपल कंसिडर इट एज अ जोक. I don't take this as a joke. I'd never take this
Yeah.
as a joke. I don't know a single person who hasn't struggled or who hasn't faced any sort of trauma related to, कि किसी ना किसी टाइप की छेड़छाड़ की. I don't know a single person, मतलब ना फ्रेंड, ऐसे कोई भी रिलेटिव ले लो, कोई भी ले लो, every single girl has faced
Yeah.
something or else of some kind. And after that you tell me कि I am overreacting to it. I am like कि ठीक है बॉस, तुमको दिक्कत है. मतलब I have had girls message me कि they have shut down their YouTube channels because they were so trolling की वजह से. And no matter how good I am, I've cracked so many companies, I teach so well, no matter how well I do, I always get the comments that ये तो लड़की कोटा है. I've never even applied or never been in a girl quota thing. Like I've always cracked on my abilities, and I've done so well, and I teach so many people. I've helped so many people crack interviews, and still like they will doubt me because I'm a girl. And
Right.
I feel that constantly there's a pressure of proving myself more than others have to prove.
Does that
But
make you work harder?
yes. Interestingly, if you see between me and my life partner, I am the more career-oriented one. Between my brother and his life partner, she is the more career-oriented one, and that is true for 5-6 very close couples around me, because it has happened that girls have to
Right.
struggle so much.
Yeah.
कि somehow now girls have become more career-oriented and guys have
Yeah.
become कि थोड़ा chill करो life में.
मेरे घर में ही वही हो रहा है. My wife is actually running the house. She's the one who's earning. मैं आराम से यहाँ podcast कर रहा हूँ जॉब छोड़ के.
So I feel girls have to work much harder, at least अभी तो.
Yeah, this is yeah, because
I think बहुत ही अलग डायरेक्शन में चला के आपको पॉडकास्ट आप अलग ही चीज एक्सपेक्ट
नहीं, that's fine. See, the whole point of this being, it's a freewheeling thing, right? And this is something of which is basically which should be talked about. And there are many times when, see, ऐसा नहीं है कि हम संत हैं. Maybe we have been perpetrators of the discrimination at some point, and it's important to call that out, right? And at least
several
realization.
times, unknowingly, which is worse. I feel like knowingly कर रहे हो तो फिर कम से कम you have knowledge that you're doing something wrong. But if you do it unknowingly, then unless somebody else points it out to you, you'll just have no idea.
Yeah.
Like because we are talking about gender discrimination, I feel I should say this कि लड़कों को भी बहुत प्रेशर होता है कि कि उन पे ज्यादा प्रेशर होता है कि they should be earning more than the girls, which I feel it is going, like at least around me it has gone to a lot of extent. But then a lot of people still feel कि guys should be earning more, girls should be earning less. And शादी कौन करेगा अगर इतना पैसा नहीं कमाएगा, and pressure is more. They can take lesser risk compared to girl because the hard truth is लड़की की शादी कर देंगे.
Yeah,
that is the harsh truth.
That's a very interesting perspective, right? That women, so if you make it the other way around, women can take more risk in the at least early part of their career just because they have this dynamic. That's interesting. Okay.
It is true. It is true. Like a guy leaving job right before wedding would have been,
Yeah,
"भाई,
yeah.
क्या कर दिया?" But
In fact, you
girl,
know, there's a post that I saw where I think there was this girl who was like, you know, I've gotten engaged to this guy who works at Microsoft. अब layoff
Oh
के time पे.
yeah,
And
that
then
post
yeah,
though.
he's now gotten layoff. He's now gotten laid off. तो मैं क्या करूँ? Should I
Should I
break off the
continue?
engagement?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that person, and this was posted even on Blind. I don't know, and
yeah,
there were people
yeah,
who were asking for, and this was a genuine post. This didn't seem like a troll post because
yeah.
ये काफी जगहों पे हुआ है.
I
And
am glad to be surrounded by a lot of couples where women earn more than guys, and it's working very well. Like I am very blessed to be surrounded by, थोड़े
Yeah,
ढंग के
yeah.
दिमाग वाले लोग.
To be very honest, as a man, it takes a lot of pressure off, right? If there is
Yeah.
somebody else who's earning more or who's like really, it makes a lot of difference.
that
in fact.
understanding
I don't know why
essentially, right?
more people would not want this.
True. But then, you also have to like equally contribute in other stuff. Like you,
Yeah.
both
Correct.
of you do the things equally. That is the way.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
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 I think
And-
let's move to next topic.
One second,
indeed.
I'm
So-
just collecting my thoughts. 1 second. Yeah. So go ahead. If you have something in mind, go ahead. I
Yeah,
was
so,
going to talk about the job thing.
Yeah, essentially, I was going to talk about the same thing. So,
Yeah.
you had so we just basically we'll just track back to where you are. So you were in college, and then you got into your first job. Uske baad, so could you just take us to maybe the initial first few years where you're perhaps doing something that you enjoy, and then finally you gotten now into this transition as starting into YouTube,
Cracking the
education,
job
whatnot.
to all of it,
Yeah.
essentially. What is the journey?
So first year of my job, I worked extremely hard, as I told you. But then I realized the hard way that it is not just the hard work, you also have to be smart. Like because my manager didn't. So I was aiming for this Rookie of the Year award. My manager did not even nominate me for that, even though he knew that I am aiming for that and all that. And when I confronted him, like I used to have like very regular one-on-ones, and I used to have like a very good conversation. And he said, you're not smart. You just work hard. So you are not capable enough. You're not competent enough. You're incompetent was his exact words. So that hit me very hard.
Way to encourage somebody who's just joined.
This is-
Joined.
Where was this?
What the hell?
This is 1 year since I started working. This was Tally Solutions. I learned the most in that company, like in terms of software engineering, in terms of life in general. But yeah, the experience of the manager was just horrible. वो मैं बोल के निकली थी सबको, CTO और CEO सब हर लेवल पे जाके बोल के निकली थी कि भाई बहुत ही मतलब. But so I left that and then I joined a startup. So it was a mentor from the same company, and he was working on a startup. So I was the only employee of the startup. Basically, I was working on something by myself, end to end, and I delivered that. So ऐसा हम लोगों की deal हुई थी कि you would deliver this app, and it was on a completely new tech stack that I never heard of. कभी कुछ नहीं किया था. So I thought as a software engineer, it's a very, very challenging thing. So it was for sort of a lesser pay, or you can say equal pay as I was earning as a fresher. And then 6 months I finished the project, but then I had this other level of confidence. And till date, whenever I go for any interview, that is like a very mind-blowing experience for any interviewer. Okay, bhai, she worked on a new tech stack, बिल्कुल अकेले 6 महीना पूरा खुद deliver किया as the only employee. And that is a very good experience that I can share with everyone. After that, my life changed pura ekdam. I got the 150% hike to into it. Fair into it. Experience was very good. I started teaching. Then, I started applying to other companies. I cracked all the companies. So went up like from there. So I started from a very basic 6 LPA job, then got really good raises, really, really good raises. So worked out well for me. So, those who keep complaining that कि यार हमारा गूगल नहीं निकला, ये नहीं निकला, हमने यार अभी स्टार्ट किया है करियर. अगर आपका पहले साल में गूगल निकल जाएगा तो आप बाकी के मतलब 30-40 साल के तो क्या करने वाले हो आप. मतलब आई यू प्लानिंग टू रिटायर मतलब 25-26 में. मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि सब अगर गूगल में पहुंच जाएंगे तो फिर व्हाट नेक्स्ट, मतलब क्या करने वाले हो आप आगे. So I was very, very lucky कि I got to work in a startup also. So
Mhm.
I keep suggesting to everyone, all the freshers, कि एक बार जरूर startup experience करो while you can,
Mhm.
because then you have to balance your life out, and once you start earning good, then you want to have a sort of balanced life. You don't want to work so hard. Versus as
Hmm.
a fresher, you have that energy to work
Correct.
like more number of hours. I feel
Hmm.
it is good, like I got to
Starting में.
work in a startup, in the starting itself.
Correct.
So,
And in fact,
good.
I presume, does that help you, at least not technically, but does it help you today? Essentially, like facing that uncertainty and,
On a daily
dealing with,
basis,
Yep.
essentially.
yeah,
because
I
you have
feel
nobody to give you too many tasks and things like that, right? If you're the
Yes,
only
yes.
employee and yeah.
I feel I love being uncertain. मतलब I love being uncertain. जहाँ पे मेरे को पता रहता है ना कि क्या होने वाला है next 6-7 महीने, सच में मजा नहीं आ रहा है, कुछ
Boring
तो
हो जाता है.
change करना है.
True,
वो
मतलब
तो है.
या
Life
तो
में fun
job
चाहिए
change हो रही होती है, या तो tech stack change हो रहा होता है, कुछ तो मतलब change होना
Yeah.
चाहिए.
Yeah, वो तो होता है यार. Because otherwise, that is basically वो sort of you start getting in the comfort zone also. Like, but तुम्हें पता है exactly सब कुछ deterministic है, फिर what are you like trying to solve then?
I have
So,
seen way too many people who are in their comfort zones and are not leaving their comfort zones. So.
Yeah.
I think
So
there is also, to be honest, I feel there is also a time for that. Matlab, to settle down, be comfortable, perhaps 10 years down the line or 15 years down the line, when your priorities are slightly different for a short period. Thoda sa relax karke, fir maybe you can start again. At least that's what I feel.
Depends from person to person. Like
Yeah.
for me, when I was getting married, I think that was the time when I had to be like, more present in my personal life than professional life, and I did that. Matlab, my brother was also getting married the same time. Like, so it was very crazy in my personal life. So I was like, ठीक है, 6 months dete hain.
Right.
And I did that, and that worked out for me.
Right. Yeah. True. It's all
So
like
this
a balance and your choices.
Yeah. And then also this thing, man, it just depends personally also, like what is more valuable to you at some point, like work satisfaction, at some point personal, and
Yep.
that's the trick, right? Balancing all of it.
Yeah.
So
Matlab,
good.
for me, it was like when I was getting married, my parents really like, although I would have just wanted a, court marriage and get it done with, but then parents का सपना and घर वालों का pressure and all that, I was like कि ठीक है, लो आपके लिए ये 6 महीने. So I gave everything to them, and I made sure it was like a huge success. Everyone had like the time of their lives. So I basically did it for them. But then, it was a good feeling.
So
yeah,
what?
That's also very enjoyable though, right? It's
Yeah.
it's amazing to see them satisfied, especially after like 20-25 years का journey.
इतना पैसा कमा के क्या ही कर लेंगे अगर घर वाले खुश नहीं है.
True.
Neetu, even that is something that I wanted to talk about, right? जैसे आप अभी balance की बात कर रहे थे, and then you focused on life. So was that causing any problem in the journey of when you were essentially targeting career growth, right? Because you started from 6LP, you had a direction, you were going to a startup, then you tried cracking bigger companies. So ये personal वाला balance करने वाला, like, did it cause any issues for you?
So personally, I've always had people who have been very supportive, like family, my life partner. I feel my professional growth, like a lot of it is because of my partner and because of my family, because they are very extremely supportive. जब मेरे interviews होते तो सब लोग शांत रहेंगे, कोई मेरे को disturb नहीं करेगा कि तुम पढ़ो, हम बाकी सब संभालेंगे. But then जब वो शादी वाला phase था, तो I feel they wanted me to be there, and especially my brother's शादी, like it was a very unconventional thing. It was a love marriage. There was some more complications. So I feel they needed me at that time. So I was like, even they support me in every way possible, why shouldn't I do that? And if I have to stop my career growth to that level, even for say 5-6 months, it's fine. Like, I still have like a huge career ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I did that, and like the way I was able to come back now, बहुत ही like I can feel it. Because those 6 months I waited कि when I make this comeback, कि आके पूरा अपनी मेहनत लगाते नहीं, and that's what I'm doing right now. मतलब I'm doing my courses and I'm doing everything. So because I've been waiting to do this, like वो 6 महीने every
अंदर
single
पूरा का
day I
पूरा
was
आग
like,
भरा है.
I was like कि यार कब I will be able to make time for myself, for my career again. So that is happening now. So I feel कि उस यू नो जुनून से हो ही नहीं
Pent
पाता वो
up,
अगर
right?
हाँ
Yeah.
क्योंकि अब मैं ऐसे पर्सनल लाइफ में नहीं सेटिस्फाइड हूँ, इतनी खुश हूँ कि मैं यहाँ पे
Hmm.
विदाउट एनी थॉट विदाउट एनी बायस दे पा रही हूँ एंड पूरा सपोर्ट है, मतलब
Hmm.
कोई कुछ क्वेश्चन नहीं कर रहा, भाई तुमको जो करना है करो वाला सीन है।
Yeah.
Awesome.
Speaking of this, right, I want to talk about this. So, जैसे you had already cracked many of the big companies. You had offers from Amazon, you were offers from Atlassian, I think it was Microsoft and Uber also, right?
Yep.
And you were at that stage. Then how did it transition to the journey of teaching?
So I got like so I chose to work in Atlassian, but
Mm-hmm.
then the role that I was assigned, I was not happy with it. So I was applied, like I was given the developer role, but then the work they gave me was SRE role. I was not happy with the work. And while I was not happy with it, I still had the other offers, like even from Amazon London. They told कि
Gotcha.
Amazon India अगर नहीं तो Amazon London आ जाओ. So I had offers while I was not happy with my job. Plus उसके बाद, you know, I had this conversation. The question that I asked myself कि 3 years down the line, do I see myself working in any company? It can be any company like Google, Uber, Amazon,
Yeah.
Microsoft, whatever it is. Will I be happy in any company for the next 3-4
Right.
years? And the answer was no. Because I would not be very happy with what I'm doing. I realized कि कुछ भी join कर लो. And what is the point of just switching the companies again and again?
Right.
तो आई वाज लाइक कि अच्छी बात है कि अभी रियलाइज हो गया है, इंस्टेड ऑफ स्विचिंग इट अगेन एंड अगेन इन एवरी 6 months, it is better कि you give yourself a chance पूरा and try to do this full time. If it works out, it will be for the best. Like
True.
So why teaching then? Did you have any experience with teaching people, Pal?
so because I was from a non-sales background, I learned everything myself, right? So I used to watch a lot of free YouTube videos. Like I've never taken any paid course ever. So I learned everything from YouTube. So any like pre-COVID, any video that would have been there on software development, there's a high chance I would have watched it. So I used to watch so many YouTube videos. And a lot of times, like, you know, a few DSA questions I used to pick up. I used to watch like all the videos, read all the blogs, and still I would feel कि किसी ने अच्छे से पढ़ाया क्यों नहीं है ये question, मतलब I can teach this better. So जब मैं वो पढ़ रही थी तो I had this thing कि I can teach this better, I can teach this better. So it was always there on the back of my mind. So COVID में I thought कि let's give it a shot. I started imagining myself teaching. मतलब I love teaching. So वो जो 5-6 क्वेश्चन थे मेरे दिमाग में, I just made videos, horrible lighting, horrible sound, but very good explanations. Till date, one of those videos, they have not removed them because the explanations are so good. So but then वो 5-6 वीडियो में people started responding so well कि you know बहुत अच्छा explain किया. But then मैंने तो इतना कुछ सोचा ही नहीं था वैसे कि अब क्या पढ़ाऊँ. But then the more I taught, the more I realized, you know, this is more fulfilling than anything else I've done so far. Like जब वो मैसेज मिलता है ना कि आपकी वजह से जॉब लगी, आई वाज स्ट्रगलिंग फॉर सो लॉन्ग, या बहुत ही बेसिक चीज़ है कि आपकी वजह से मुझे ये क्वेश्चन समझ में आ गया, वाज स्ट्रगलिंग विद इट फॉर 3-4 डेज़. वो जो फील होती है ना, वो मतलब मेरे लिए सबसे ज़्यादा अच्छी फील है, मतलब कंपेयर टू एनीथिंग एल्स आई हैव डन.
Yeah.
Being a part of other people's journeys.
Yep. Yep.
So this is how so you started like putting out stuff on YouTube ऐसे मतलब कि explain
Yes.
करने वाला है. And so
Yep.
how did you grow? Like so पहले तो आप बोल रहे थे जैसे topic identify करना. What did you want to talk about? How were you identifying those?
So DSA was something that I started with. फिर ना जैसे अब आप LinkedIn की भी अगर बात करूँ तो I had no post on LinkedIn before that. So all I did was कि just put it up on LinkedIn कि hey guys, I've made this video, आप जाके देखो type का. ऐसे करके देखा. फिर I realized कि LinkedIn पर following बहुत बढ़ रही है, मतलब the number of messages that I got and सब कुछ, तो I thought कि चलो LinkedIn पे try करते हैं. Started putting out stuff like almost 3-4 days a week. And got really good response. Like really, मतलब जब मेरे को first time realize oh LinkedIn content creation, I already had 30K followers. मतलब it grew very fast. Because I feel there were very less number of people who were able to speak मतलब एकदम freely. क्योंकि usually मैं देखती हूँ कि LinkedIn पे ना बहुत ही डर रहता है. ये मैं बहुत बार बात करती हूँ लोगों से, क्योंकि लोग रहते हैं कि जज करेंगे, आपके खुद के मैनेजर हैं अगर या CTO है. नाउ इमेजिन दे आर सीइंग एंड वो सोच रहे होंगे कि यार ये तो क्या ज्ञान पेल रहा है, कल तो इसने ये इश्यूज डाल दिया था कोड में. तो इसलिए मतलब I feel a lot of people
True.
don't put content thinking of this, but then क्योंकि as I told you, my background ही ऐसा रहा है कि I have always stood up and I've never been so scared of speaking up my mind. तो I think वो कहीं ना कहीं really hit me on LinkedIn. तो मैं तो कुछ भी बोल देती थी, जेंडर इक्वालिटी हो मैं बोलूंगी, बहुत कम लोग इसके बारे में बोलते थे. विमेन हायरिंग ड्राइव्स के बारे में मैंने बात की, सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट, अच्छे मैनेजर्स होने चाहिए, जो मेरा टैली में जो एक्सपीरियंस था कि मैनेजर अच्छे नहीं थे, वो वाली जो मैंने बातचीत की है. मतलब आई फील अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल इमोशनली कनेक्टेड विद माय पोस्ट एंड उसकी वजह से वो चला. तो इट इज़ नॉट लाइक कि मुझे स्टार्टिंग से मेरा नीश पता था. जब मैंने डीएसए डाला तो मेरे को फिर डीएसए ईज़ी लगने लगा. मेरे को वो नहीं चाहिए था कि मैं एकदम बेसिक चीज़ों से पढ़ाऊँ. तो आई ट्राई टू फाइंड समथिंग मोर चैलेंजिंग. फिर मैंने एलएलडी पढ़ाया. अब आप देखोगे तो मैं एचएलडी पढ़ा रही हूँ, व्हिच इज़ अ वेरी सीनियर लेवल स्टाफ. मतलब पीपल इन माय कोर्स, कुछ लोग ऐसे भी हैं जिनको 18-20 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है. तो अगर आप सोचो एज़ अ टीचर इट इज़ एक्सट्रीमली चैलेंजिंग. In my batch, I will have students who are like first year students as well as people who are 28 plus years of experience. So you can imagine maintaining that and आप ऐसे पढ़ाओ कि वो भी उनको
Do
भी मजा
justice
आ रहा
to
है और इनको
them.
भी मजा आ रहा है.
You got to carry along
Correct.
everybody.
Yep. So I feel कि as a teacher I've always challenged myself more कि although मेरे को this has not worked out in many ways. A lot of people tell me कि I could have just created one playlist एकदम basic से and पूरा end to end cover करो. But then if I think about it, वो already बहुत लोगों ने किया हुआ है यार. मतलब it's not challenging for me as a teacher. So I pick up topics that are not there. Whenever I teach something, I go through all the content that is there online, videos, blogs. I go through everything very, very thoroughly. Then I think about it, can I teach this better than what has already been taught? तभी मैं वो वीडियो बनाती हूँ, वरना मैं नहीं बनाती हूँ. मतलब आप देखोगे वैसे बहुत ही फालतू टॉपिक पे बहुत कम वीडियो बनाती हूँ. कुछ करने पड़ते हैं, बट ज़्यादातर ऐसे टॉपिक्स होंगे which are very fulfilling or very challenging as a teacher.
But then how do you pick these up, right? Because जैसा बता रहे हो, like you have to first understand what is there existing already out there, and then choose the ones which you want to talk about. So that's a very time-consuming process.
Yes,
and
yes, it is.
like खुद अकेले करना तो I can't even imagine, because I consume a lot of content and उसको distill करना and then also find the time to create content.
Yes,
And
yes.
that will take again a lot of effort, understanding it.
If you talk to my
इसलिए तो जॉब
audience,
छोड़ दिया.
इसलिए तो जॉब छोड़ दिया, correct. If you talk to my audience, a lot of them will say I'm not consistent on YouTube. So it is very easy to say you're not consistent on YouTube, but when you think about it, my one tutorial video, which is of 1 hour, 1 घंटे का tutorial video, it takes me पूरी रात to record it. And it takes me 2-3 दिन to think कि मैं कैसे पढ़ाऊँगी. And it takes me 1 week का research to think कि to see कि क्या-क्या already है. तो कहने के लिए लोग कहते थे कंसिस्टेंट नहीं है, बहुत कम वीडियोस है, बट व्हेन यू थिंक अबाउट इट, द काइंड ऑफ एफर्ट दैट इज गोइंग बिहाइंड एवरी वीडियो इज जस्ट क्रेजी. तो अलग-अलग टाइप के वीडियोस होते हैं. सम वीडियोस आर लाइक जो मेरे लिए एज़ अ टीचर चैलेंजिंग नहीं है, जो डीएसए के जो वो है, वो मैं 5 मिनट देख के क्वेश्चन देख के पढ़ा दूँगी. बट जो अब मैं क्योंकि चैलेंजिंग चीज़ें उठाती हूँ, तो मतलब आई एज़ अ यूट्यूबर इट्स नॉट अ वेरी स्मार्ट थिंग टू डू, बट देन you have to maintain a balance between what you like doing and YouTube algo also. If I would have created content on a daily basis, even if it was easier, probably I would have had much more number of subscribers till now. And a lot of people say this, ki growth could have been much faster because I'm a good teacher. I know I am a good teacher, but then I think I would not have been there, like वैसे long run में नहीं हो पाती. एक है marathon लड़ रहे हो versus आप sprints लड़ रहे हो. तो I am running a marathon over here, not a sprint.
Yeah, basically the quality content is something that will stay, और बाद में people will really come to watch rather than just fast content जो तुम ऐसे ही भेज रहे हो.
People का actually छोड़ो, कम से कम when you use your own content later on,
You should feel
you
proud,
should not,
basically.
yeah, you should be proud of it, right?
Sometimes I watch my own tutorial videos and I'm like, oh, मुझे इतना आता है.
True. We all should do that.
Because this is also one of our other guests, right? So they were also basically influencer on LinkedIn, and I had this exact same question कि आप मतलब don't you get that मतलब कि वो trap में नहीं गिरते हो कि you just put out something just because आपको algo के लिए करना है to keep that growth rate up. And he was also saying that
Sometimes you have to, like you have to maintain a balance. You have to learn where you draw the line. मतलब.
Right. So how would you like, so all of this, the topics that you identified, right? I'm guessing you would use the feedback from the audience also, what they want to learn about. How do you go about like researching this? Is it all like self-taught from different, like from the resources on the web, or how do you
Yes,
go
yes.
about it?
Everything is self-taught. मतलब
Mhm.
सारे resources plus books plus like I've been blessed with a very good partner. So
Yeah.
he reviews everything with a बहुत ही transparency से, मतलब कुछ अच्छा नहीं होगा तो बोलेगा कि क्या बकवास पढ़ा है. तो बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि मैं वीडियो रिकॉर्डेड होगा फिर भी दोबारा पढ़ाऊंगी. I'll go like ये अच्छा नहीं है bro. मतलब
So
कुछ
his
कर इसका.
background is also similar.
Yes. So he is also a software engineer and he has more experience than me. He has 10 years of experience. So matlab, he is a very good mentor in that sense. Like,
Gotcha.
so I
I mean, it's
honestly
very helpful
have,
having a critic like that, right?
yes. So he is a very good critic. So I completely trust him in the sense कि अगर वो बोल रहा है कि वीडियो अच्छा नहीं है तो नहीं है, बोल रहा है अच्छा है, मतलब in terms of tutorial
Right.
quality मैं बात कर रही हूँ, not in terms of content.
Right.
इंस्टा पे मैं जो डाल रही हूँ उसको उससे कोई मतलब नहीं, तेरे को जो डालना है डाल. It is about कि मैं क्या पढ़ा रही हूँ उसको उस बात का मतलब है, and that I trust on him like completely.
Yeah.
Makes
वो भी
sense.
important है, constructive criticism essentially from someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
क्योंकि ऑडियंस तो कभी खुश नहीं होगी, मतलब कभी भी खुश नहीं होगी. अगर आप धीरे
Yeah.
पढ़ाओगे तो बोलेंगे तेज पढ़ाओगे तो बोलेंगे
Yeah.
धीरे पढ़ाओ. मतलब you can never be happy no matter what you do. लाइव पढ़ाओगे कुछ लोग बोलेंगे रिकॉर्डिंग पढ़ाओ, रिकॉर्डेड डालोगे कुछ लोग बोलेंगे लाइव पढ़ाओ. मतलब you can never make your audience happy.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what is your preferred matlab mode of teaching आजकल? मतलब in YouTube what kind of format do you focus on?